Welcome to the Amiibo Newscast. This week's guest is me, Jared Rutledge. And here's your host, Amiibo Jason.
Hello again, Amiibo and Nintendo fans. Welcome to episode 5. Episode 5, I can't believe we've already come this far. Episode 5 of the Amiibo Newscast. I am your host, Amiibo Jason. I am back once again to discuss anything and everything in the world of Amiibo and Nintendo, and I am just absolutely honored to be joined again by our absolutely fantastic announcer. You know him as the announcer at the beginning of this episode. It's Jared Rutledge. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. It's been a weird week. So just to give you guys an idea, we are filming this podcast on March 27th. It's about 9:16 p.m. And it's kind of a bittersweet day for me. So you asked me how I was, and I'm kind of in the middle of being like happy and sad, only because of some of the news that we kind of heard today about the development of the new Zelda game. So that's where I am right now, at least. I'm kind of melancholy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I completely get that. I'm kind of on the same train as you are.
But yeah, I think before we get into that, I'm going to just go ahead and have you introduce yourself one more time. If you've listened to the podcast before, we've had Jared on once before, and he has been the voice that you hear at the beginning of every episode since we started. But I'll give you a couple seconds to just introduce who you are and what you do.
All right. Hi, I'm Jared Rutledge, and I've been an alcoholic for about 7 years now.
I don't think it's that kind of podcast.
Yeah, I know. I just, when I started saying that, I kind of felt that coming on. I don't know why.
That's
I
okay.
haven't been an alcoholic for 7 years, actually.
Yeah, the Amiibo Hunters drive you to drink, though, from what I understand.
It's been a very long Amiibo hunt. But hi, I'm Jared Rutledge. I'm a voice actor and an actor, and I'll do voice stuff for you if you want. So you can find me on Twitter at Jared_Rutledge. And that concludes the most awkward plug in history.
I don't think it was. I have heard worse plugs than that, by the way. And anyways, I think the bigger plug is just your intro anyway. I am still absolutely blown away with how much you sound like the Smash announcer in general. So it's kind of one of the main reasons I wanted to have you back on again. And honestly, I think I'd like to have you back on this show more than once after this as well. You just bring a fun dynamic to the table, especially the fact that you have that fantastic, I like to call it the golden voice. Especially if you're a Nintendo fan, that voice is almost immediately recognizable. So it's really fun to have you back on.
Oh, well, thanks. It's great to be back.
So we have a decent amount of topics to talk about tonight. You'd think that after 5 weeks of talking nothing but little plastic figurines that we would run out of stuff to talk about. But lo and behold, Nintendo keeps giving us new information to kind of hold us over. No Wave 4 information, but new information nonetheless. We also have some Nintendo news to talk about. Something very near and dear to my heart is the Legend of Zelda franchise. So I think we should probably just start the show off with that. So about 3 or 4 hours ago, I was in Five Guys Burgers and Fries, enjoying my hamburger with my wife and daughter. I had my pink lemonade in my hand. I decided to take my phone out just to see if anything new was happening, and lo and behold, I see that Zelda U, to my dismay, has been pushed back, presumably into 2016. I have super mixed emotions about this because I want it to be a great game, and I have no doubt that it's going to be a great game. I have all of the hope and support given to the staff at Nintendo to make Zelda U fantastic. At the same time, though, I'm really, really heartbroken. I was excited to play it at E3. Some of you, if you follow me on Twitter at Amiibo News, you may see that I got a press pass finally to go to E3. My hotel's booked, my flight's booked. That was the most exciting thing that I was looking forward to, and it's kind of sad that it's been dashed, that I can't play it anymore at E3. So, Jared, I was going to talk to you about that. I know you're into Nintendo and Zelda pretty heavily too. What's your thought about the delay?
Well, I don't know. I want Zelda U to be the best game it can possibly be, but I don't know. It's when you set a set deadline like that, where you say it's gonna be here 2015, the last quarter of 2015. Like
Yeah.
Smash Bros. Everyone thought Smash Bros. Was gonna be delayed into 2015, but they had said it was gonna come out 2014, so they did their best to get it out, and it worked. But if they feel like they have to push it back to make it better and get in all the features that they want to have in, I think they should.
Yeah. And I know it was Enuma that said that he was looking at a couple things when he was working with his development staff for the Zelda for Wii U, and they found some really interesting things that they thought that could really revolutionize like the entire adventure game. They said they found very interesting things that they really wanted to work with. So rather than like rush through those and maybe push some of them off to the side, they thought that let's push this back a little bit further. Let's just kind of release ourselves from the shackles of a 2015 release. And let's see if we can work these things into it. So I'm with you. I'm still sad. I wish that we would see it this year at some point, but at the same time, I'm an absolute like diehard Zelda fan in general. When Skyward Sword came out, that was delayed. Twilight Princess was delayed. So my kind of thought on this at this point is if it's a Zelda game, it's going to get delayed anyway. So at least it's out of the way right now. I'm still kind of sad about the E3 thing, though. I would have loved to actually go and play this at E3 because they also announced that it's not coming to E3 this year too. So it's not going to be shown. It's not going to be playable. So do you think that's an interesting thing too? Are they that far behind the process if I can't even see it?
Considering they already had the test footage done to show off, where was that they showed that off? I can't remember.
So they showed off the first demo of this last year at E3, and it wasn't a demo. They showed it was all pre-rendered cutscenes last year at E3, yeah. And then they showed the first gameplay footage that was off screen. They showed that at the Video Game Awards on Spike. So that was about 6 months ago. It wasn't that long ago. I think it was like 4 months ago now. 3-4 months ago. So that was the first time that we got to see it in action.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if they have at least a world for Link to run around, like just a basic thing for Link to run around in, that they would at least give people a couple minutes to just test out the mechanics or something, or give them a chance to try something new that would that they would be able to get people hyped for.
At bare minimum, I'm hoping for a trailer, even though I think they kind of put the kibosh on that too, that we're not even going to get a trailer for it. But I guess we can hope. Nintendo's thrown curveballs in the past, so I mean, it could happen.
Yeah. The only thing is, the Wii U, I feel, really needed Zelda U to come out this year. Because even though, the new Kirby game and Mario Party and Splatoon hopefully are all going to sell well.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not that set big game that each of the Nintendo consoles gets. And I feel like the Wii U needed to have one every year for it to keep selling.
Yeah.
Like, because we had Mario Kart a couple of years ago, then we got Smash Bros. Last year, and then Zelda was going to be this year's big game. And I feel like delaying it to 2016 might hinder the sales of the Wii U a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, we have a couple things. We have Star Fox coming out this year, supposedly.
Yeah, that's right.
So that hasn't been delayed yet. From what I understand, though, that was supposed to come out before Zelda anyway. So I'm not anticipating that there's going to be a major delay with Star Fox, so I think that's going to come this year. But if you put Star Fox and Zelda next to each other, it doesn't have the same appeal. I think Star Fox is going to sell very, very, very well, just nowhere near as well as we would see Zelda U. It's not gonna push consoles, in my opinion, unless it has insanely awesome Amiibo support. I think that's where you could start seeing that. Maybe like you could do something like build a ship like out of different pieces, like combine it into like a super Amiibo, scan it in, and then the ship comes to life. Kind of like the gummy ships thing in Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
So that'd be neat. But no, I agree with you. I don't think that Nintendo has an ace up its sleeve as far as like a AAA title for 2015. I heard some people joking that they're going to push Zelda back to the Nintendo NX when that ends up coming out. That's not going to, it's not going to, but it happened with Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that is true.
Pushing it to the Wii, but I don't think we're going to end up seeing that happen with this. It's so far off anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope not, because I don't want the NX to come out that soon.
No.
We still need to have fun on the Wii U before people forget about it.
And I love the Wii U. I'm one of the very few people, at least in my group of friends, that can actually sit down with the Wii U and just have fun with it for hours. I picked up Mario Party 10 over last weekend, and I've been playing that ever since. It's interesting, but it's a fun game to play with friends, and I think that's what Nintendo's good at. So here's hoping that Zelda is going to be very well prepared and polished when it's presented to us, hopefully sometime early next year. Hopefully not like holiday 2016.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I know that wasn't necessarily remarkably Amiibo related, but if you're a fan or a guest of the podcast, you know that I love Zelda. It is kind of what brought me into the absolute crazy world of Amiibo collecting. So we could not have gone through tonight with the news just happening without talking about it. So some people were also asking me, because we do something called like the Amiibo News speed round. You know all about that because you're the guy who announces it. But we posed a question, what they wanted to talk about, like for the speed round this week. And somebody said, do you think Zelda U was delayed to implicate Amiibo support? Like, was that the big thing that they discovered? I don't think that's the case, but that kind of just brings me on to the topic that we talked about with Zelda Universe last time that we spoke on the podcast a couple weeks ago. What are your thoughts at this point then? Now that we have a little bit of a delay, do you still think we're going to end up seeing Amiibo support? Is that going to be something that's going to be a big driver to Zelda U?
Oh yeah. Well, with the new 3DS coming out and that having built-in Amiibo support, I know that Amiibos are going to get pushed even past when people don't want them, which hopefully isn't soon because
hopefully
Amiibos. And I know Nintendo is going to use Amiibos for years to come, and all of the big games are going to have Amiibo support. So like you said, I can't see Amiibo support being the thing that delayed the game.
Yeah.
But it's definitely going to have it.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat. I think that we're going to start seeing Amiibo support in pretty much every AAA Nintendo game. We're even seeing it in the non-AAA Nintendo games in general. So I can't imagine that was the case, that it was delayed. But I'd like to see some really interesting things coming from Amiibo. I'd like to see it kind of push past the boundaries of using it like Mario Party does, with like just using it as like a game piece token. Codename Steam is doing things right with it where you can actually like get a playable character, but besides that, it doesn't do a whole lot. So I'd like to see Zelda push the boundaries with what you can do with Amiibo, and hopefully that's something that they're working on. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I could see a lot of different possibilities of the things that they could do with the Amiibo and the new Zelda.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get more information, at least on some level at E3. Maybe even just some Amiibo confirmation. Like they don't have to show me a trailer, but they could say we are working on an Amiibo line for Zelda U, and that would be enough for me. I would be over the moon happy if that's all they said. I'd like to see more, but I'd still be pretty happy with just that. So, but that kind of brings us into our next topic here, and that was the Mario Party 10 launch. So that just happened last Friday. Yeah, it was on the 20th. So it was a week ago today. That's exciting. So a week ago today, I was waiting in line right around this time at my local Walmart, trying to get my hands on a gold Amiibo, a gold Mario Amiibo. I did, by the way. He's hanging out behind me. I'll see if I can grab him. I know you can't see me right now, but when we put up the video podcast, everybody will. But there he is, gold Mario. I had the opportunity to sit down and play Mario Party 10 extensively, more so than I should have at this point. I think I've invested like over 10 hours into the game already.
Oh my gosh.
That's tricky to do. With a family. It's one of those fun games though that my wife isn't a gamer in most respects. She's a big fan in like Animal Crossing, but she's not like a big fan of like like the Zelda franchise or RPGs or games that like require like a lot of dedication. But games like Mario Party, it's like a godsend to me because as like the husband who wants to get his wife into gaming, it's like, thank God, this is something that we can play together and it's fun. Like we both have like an equal shot of winning. You know, it's fun time. So we sat down and played. We did some Let's Plays. I played again last night for about 2.5, 3 hours with my brother. But the Amiibo support's pretty fun. And I know I was talking to you before the podcast, and you said that you picked up your copy and you're planning on trying it out tonight?
Yeah, right after the podcast. I ended up being able to get the Mario Amiibo bundle.
Oh, nice.
So that's pretty fun. Because
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I didn't want to have to use my Smash Bros. Amiibos for Mario Party.
And I know the only ones that I've used for them so far from the Smash series. I played with Rosalina yesterday. I haven't played with Donkey Kong yet, but no, I feel you. It's like it doesn't feel right to use the Smash Bros. One. Number one, because you can't save both games onto it. So one thing that the Mario Party series does with Amiibo, it saves little tokens that are kind of like board modifiers. Onto the NFC chip that's built into the character. But if you have a Smash Brothers character already saved that you're already starting to level up, it deletes all that information out. So that's kind of unfortunate. So if you have both, like if you have a Mario for Smash and you have a Mario for the Mario Party series, you're better off just using the Mario for the Mario Party series so you don't delete anything off of your Mario or your other Amiibos from the Smash series. Before I go into really any like great detail about my experiences with Amiibo support in Mario Party 10. I was curious to see what your expectations are for it, and we'll see if we can align here. See if we match as far as what your expectations are and what the reality of it is.
All right. Well, I think the Mario Party that I've played most is Mario Party 7 for the GameCube.
And that's an awesome game, by the way. One of my favorites in the series.
So I know that after Mario Party 9, they changed it so that it's just 4 people moving around the board together instead of separately, like in the older Mario Party games. So I expect it to be a little more fair in that sense for less experienced players. But I feel like it might take away a little bit from the people who want a more hardcore experience for Mario Party. That just saying that sounds kind of ridiculous, a hardcore Mario Party experience. But
no, I feel it's like the hardcore Mario Party experience is when your palm is bleeding when you're playing the mini game. There was one on the N64. I can't remember what it was called, but you had to put your palm on the joystick and like rotate it as fast as you can. And if your palm wasn't bleeding, you weren't doing something right. So that's the hardcore experience. If
Nintendo wasn't shipping you gloves for lawsuits. I expect Mario Party to be fun. Yeah. I expect Bowser Party to be extremely unbalanced.
It is.
So I expect to lose that every time that I'm playing against my brother because he'll want to play Bowser every time. And I expect Amiibo Party. Amiibo Party is similar to the older Mario Party games where it's based off of stars and coins, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I expect that to be pretty fun.
So I agree with you. Your expectations of it are pretty much spot on. So we'll kind of go in order of pretty much how you said it. So the standard Mario Party game is everybody gets in a car together. They go together. You pretty much just follow everybody on the board. It's not that fun, in my humble opinion. The standard version of the game, which it kind of pains me to say because I've been a Mario Party fan for a while. It's nothing that's absolutely fantastically fun. But it's still borderline boring. It's my least favorite mode. The Bowser mode is fantastic. It's really fun. If you're playing as Bowser, it's super fun because you get the gamepad and you can see like everything that Bowser's seeing. So it's like a first-person Bowser game.
Oh, that's great.
Which is fun. Like you can blast fireballs at people and hit them in the head with a hammer.
Welcome to Evolve Mario Edition.
Oh, totally. I can totally dig that. So you have that, which is it's a lot of fun. I've played as Bowser twice, and I played as a character twice, and I have won every time in Bowser that I played Bowser, and I lost every time I was a character. I came so close once though. I was one space away from winning, But if you're Bowser and you're halfway decent at gaming, it's not all that difficult to win. But it's fun.
Yeah, I've heard people they say the Bowser mode is a lot of fun, but it's near impossible to win if you're playing as the characters.
I think the best thing to do for that kind of mode would be if you have a young, inexperienced player, like maybe one of my younger brothers, or maybe like a nephew or a niece. Give them the gamepad, let them be Bowser, and it's fine if they're a little bit overpowered, but you probably should be able to beat them. But at least I think it gives you a shot. It gives them a shot to try to do it.
Yeah.
So I would say give it to the inexperienced player, but the Bowser mode's fun. The Amiibo mode is where things kind of get a little crazy. So the Amiibo mode is only unlocked when you tap an Amiibo onto the gamepad. Every Amiibo character has a different game board, and the game board is separated into 4 areas. So you could potentially have 4 different game boards on one game. So essentially you could have like a quarter of Mario's game board and a quarter of Toad's game board, a quarter of Donkey Kong's, and a quarter of Wario's when Wario comes out, which is really, really cool in my opinion. But that really brings you back to like the classic Mario Party boards. My only real gripe with it so far is that it's a super tiny board. So it doesn't take you long to get around it. I think there's only about 40 squares on it, maybe a little bit less. So it's not all that big. So the other interesting piece, and I think this is what brings us into what the Amiibo can really do for Mario Party, you have the board modifiers that come with it. So if you have Gold Mario, there's like a little golden perk that's built into the Gold Mario Amiibo. That's really neat. But there's other perks that you can pick up across the boards, like things that like do really cool things to your dice. You could have things that like make you go backwards, like modifiers that like affect the other players on the board, and the modifiers stay with you. So you can collect a modifier on your on one playthrough. You can save the modifier onto your Amiibo, and then come back a couple days later, and that modifier would still be there. So you can save those little tokens onto the Amiibo, which is really neat in my opinion. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen when you try the game out. Are you going to go like straight into Amiibo mode, or do you think you're going to like try the Bowser mode first?
I don't know. I feel like I should try, just for the sake of the game, I feel like I should play the classic Mario Party mode first.
Yeah.
Even if it's not that fun, I don't know. I feel like I should play like the core Mario Party before I go off into the other game modes.
So that kind of brings me to asking you this. I've played the Amiibo mode, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. The mode is fun, but you can only unlock it if you have an Amiibo, which is kind of bizarre to me that you have to have an Amiibo if you want to play like that kind of classic Mario Party. So it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's kind of like a form of DLC. You have to buy something in order for it to work. So do you think like buying the Amiibo, using it to like get those modifiers and play that mode, is that good business practice? Do you think that's something that people are just gonna like buy into, or do you think that it's just gonna kind of wear off and kind of lose its luster?
I feel like the concept of it on paper could work really well, but I don't think. I don't know. Like with Smash Bros, I liked that the Amiibo were sort of an optional thing. Like you could still have the full game without having to get the Amiibo.
Oh, completely.
But with Mario Party, if there's like just a block on the screen that says, "Sorry, you can't do this without Amiibo."
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of forcing people to buy Amiibo, which I don't think should be the case, but I don't know. And correct me if I'm wrong, but in Amiibo mode, you have to swipe the Amiibo for every single action, right?
Yes. Or you can technically you can like pass the gamepad around, and you can do it on the gamepad too. So you can just hit like the A button on the gamepad to get it to work, to roll the dice. But for all intents and purposes, they want you to tap the Amiibo onto the board every single time that you play it. Which is kind of fun at first because it kind of gives you a sense like you're playing a real board game. But the first time I played it with my wife, we were complaining about, I'd say halfway through, that it was getting really old really fast having to tap the amiibo every single time, because just our muscle memory is like, just we're pushing the A button on our Wiimote, like desperately trying to get the dice to roll and it's not working, and then it like clicks like, oh yeah, I gotta tap the amiibo on there.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think that's a terrible idea. It would have been nice if they gave you the option to switch back and forth between the controller and the amiibo, but I think the whole point of it is they're trying to get you to like fully interact with the amiibo, and by giving you that option, it doesn't let you do that. So I can see what they're doing with it.
And the modifiers, are they that big of a function in Amiibo Party?
So there was one modifier that I had that helped me like win the game, which was, I think it was, it like let me go backwards, or it did something to my dice that allowed me to like really like shake things up, which was good. I know there's modifiers that give you extra coins, so it's cool. It's a cool concept. I think it's a nice mix to have, like something to throw into the mix, like that kind of makes Mario Party less stale.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like mandatory.
The only thing I don't know, I don't want to sound condescending toward Nintendo saying this, but I feel like the modifiers carrying over from one game to another might have been the only reason why they make you rewrite the amiibos, because
yeah,
I feel like it should have been one of those things where it just sends the information instead of receiving it.
Yes.
Like with Mario Kart or Captain Toad.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I feel like you could have just used the amiibo to unlock a stage or a map for the board.
Yeah.
And then gotten maybe like a daily reward from them.
Yeah.
But still made the Mario amiibo line.
You could still do modifiers though too, as long as the game it's in that game. The modifiers would still work. Just it's the process of carrying those modifiers over, and that's an interesting point that I'd never really fully considered. That maybe like dragging the modifiers back and forth is a way to get people to double dip into Amiibo. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like that was the direction you were going, where they're kind of forcing you to double dip.
Yeah, and I don't want to think of it like that, but the thought has crossed my mind that that's one of the reasons why they did that.
And that's, I think that's a fair assessment. Not everybody wants to double dip. I know I do. I have a very weird Amiibo sickness where I have to have every single one. So double dipping isn't like a major issue for me, but I know a lot of people that don't want to spend an absolute fortune on plastic figures might not be in that same boat, and they'd like to have their level 50 Mario and not have to wipe it out in order to play Mario Party. So that's a really interesting concept. Again, that wasn't anything that I've considered before, but now you've kind of made me consider it. But that's just another kind of question at this point too, because I mean, since we're talking about Gold Mario and Mario Party 10, I'd like to just talk about the new Amiibo line that just came out. So the Mario Brothers Amiibo line. I have all of them right in front of me. So I got my Gold Mario here. I'm waving it in front of the camera. Toad is cool because Toad is like brand new to the series. You can't get him anywhere else in any kind of form. Mm-hmm. But we had Yoshi, Princess Peach, Bowser, Mario, Gold Mario, Luigi, and Toad in this series, which is really cool. At least for me, because I'm a diehard Nintendo collector. But what's your thoughts so far on the Mario Brothers line? Again, I've had people think like, why are they double dipping so quickly? You know, the first wave of Amiibo only came out in December, when most of these figures were first introduced. So do you think it's too fast? Do you think it's too soon? What are your thoughts so far on the Mario Brothers Amiibo?
I don't think it's too soon. I think since Mario Party is going to be the big Mario game, because if they had done it for Super Mario 3D World or Mario Kart or something, those came out a while ago. Yeah. So that would have made sense, but Amiibo didn't exist then. So I feel like this is the opportunity to introduce the Mario line. I don't know if you've like physically compared the Amiibos yet, like from one character to the other Smash Bros. And Mario series.
Totally.
But I feel like because my friend got the Luigi figure, and I feel like it's more durable than the Smash Bros. Line.
Oh, it's heavy. It's heavier, and it does feel more durable. I think with the Smash Bros. Line, like if you look at Rosalina and Zelda, I mean, they're very, very complicated and complex figures. They're very realistic compared to like the cartoony feel of the Mario Brothers amiibo. But go ahead.
I think that might have been a decision, considering that the Mario games are geared towards children and Smash Bros. Is kind of geared towards an older audience, and the Smash Bros. Line is more of a collector's line, I think, with all the exclusive amiibos and things of that nature. But it could just be the fact that Mario has a more cartoony style than the Nintendo series as a whole.
No, and that makes sense. I mean, even if you compare Luigi and the Mario figures, so like the Mario figure from the Smash Bros. Series is super, super detailed. Like he looks angry. He's got like texture in his pants, or his, what do you call those? His overalls. There's just more like physical detail to it. And then when you pull up the Mario figure from just this line, you know, his pants have no texture. It's just like one blue cartoony block. I think you're definitely right. It's geared towards different audiences. So I don't necessarily think that it happened too quickly. I know a lot of people are kind of crying foul for that, though, saying that it all just happened so fast.
Yeah. And I think that might be because Gold Mario was so soon after some of the other exclusive amiibos.
Yeah.
Well, Meta Knight more recently, I suppose. But
I think this is going to be a trend that we're going to end up seeing carry over. I don't think it's going to end up being like we're going to see like 5 or 6 different Marios. I think we're going to see a Silver Mario. I know we're going to see a Silver Mario. I don't think we're going to see like Mario holding tennis racket or Mario holding golf club. Maybe we will. I don't foresee that. I just think that it just lined up this way. Where Mario Party 10 came out, they wanted to come out with a line for Mario Party 10, and that's the way they did it. When Zelda U comes out, we're going to see another Link, and we're going to see another Princess Zelda. They're going to look different, but that's what's going to happen. Hopefully with Animal Crossing, when that comes out, we're going to see a line for Animal Crossing. But I'm not anticipating like Nintendo is going to release like a different color Mario, or like Mario holding something or with a different color hat like every like 2 or 3 months. I just think it just so happened to fall where Mario Party 10 was released so closely to Smash Brothers. So that's my opinion on
definitely. Yeah, and that makes sense. Like, it wouldn't make any sense for them to do anything else.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, if they waited to release the series of Amiibos for a game that came out, like, months earlier, I don't know. I feel like spacing them out too far apart wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, and they have to strike when the kettle's hot, and it really is right now. Everything is just super hot as far as anything Amiibo goes. So I figure they have to release it now. They have to keep the wave going. I think that the exception to the rules are these color variants that we're seeing. So we've talked about Gold Mario all the time, like on every podcast that we've had, because he's always relevant to some extent. But Gold Mario came out. We have a Silver Mario that's supposedly going to end up coming out sometime later this year too. I'm sure there's going to be a Platinum Mario at some point. It wouldn't shock me. I have no problem with the color variants, but I kind of want to get your opinion on this as far as like the Gold Mario is concerned. I'm looking on eBay right now, and there are 4,153 listings for Gold Mario on eBay currently. Average selling price anywhere between like $35 to $55. So what do you think about this scalping market that's happened with Amiibo? This whole scalper culture. I feel like every event that I go to where there is like a rare or a sought after Amiibo, there's a group of people there that after talking to them, I know they have no interest in this. They're not buying it for their kids. The only thing they want to do is put it on eBay. Do you think the whole scalper thing has kind of gone out of control? Does Nintendo need to maybe step in and do something?
Well, I thought it got out of control when that guy spent $4,000 on Rosalinas just so other people couldn't have them.
That guy was out of control, man.
But I don't know. I feel like at this point Nintendo should have learned their lesson from the Smash Bros. Line and made more. First off, because that's always been my thing is like, Nintendo, you could be making more money than you are. Why aren't you? But they always have to have the exclusive ones. I don't know. It would take away from it if they didn't have the exclusive ones.
Yeah, I mean the exclusive ones are big. I mean, other countries don't have like the level of exclusives that we do, but it makes the hunt somewhat more fun for me. Like having to go to multiple places to try to find them. I know a lot of people don't agree with that. I don't think we're going to see like major exclusivity deals in the future. Maybe like for Silver Mario, Gold Mario, like the Gold series and stuff like that. We talked about this on the podcast before, where like the variant color things, that's fine. Give them like to a retail, give it like as a retail exclusive. But for like a figure that you can't get anywhere else in any other color, they should be available everywhere. They shouldn't make people jump through hoops to get their like whoever they main in Smash Brothers. I think that's kind of cruel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the whole scalper thing that's going on with Gold Mario is just, it's getting to a point of ridiculousness. There was a restock of Gold Mario that happened early last week, like very, very soon after the very first wave of Gold Mario sold out. Most stores got anywhere between like an extra 5. My store got like an extra 16. And there was people that were taking pictures of like going in and buying all of them. Like you see like 10 of them sitting in a cart. It's getting to a point where it's getting outrageous, and it would be nice that maybe if there was a safe place that like fans could go, kind of like the UK Nintendo site, where they can get these rare or semi-rare amiibo, like limit one per customer, like a decent amount. I know that Ike has been up on like the UK Nintendo store pretty regularly, so it goes up and it goes down, but at least they limit it, and you can buy it directly from Nintendo. But I think that's something that we might need to like look into or start kind of maybe even petitioning Nintendo to do for the US.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good idea, just because there are some amiibo where at this point you're not going to find them anywhere else other than scalpers selling them online.
Yep.
So I feel like that's kind of hopefully inevitable that Nintendo would do that. But I don't know if it will be, because if they're moving on to the next line of amiibo, what's stopping them from just making more?
Yeah. So and some people have mentioned that with Wave 4 not having pre-orders yet in the US or Canada, that maybe that's something that like Nintendo of the US, like US Nintendo, and maybe the Nintendo of Canada, maybe they're looking into a different way. Maybe that's why it's delayed. Any thoughts there? Do you think maybe that's why we don't see Wave 4 out yet?
I don't know. The delay for Wave 4 pre-orders could really be anything. I think above all, it's to make sure that they have enough stock with the whole situation that was going on with the port strikes and them not being able to get the amiibo. And I feel like that might have been one of the big factors in letting them know that, hey, we have to make enough amiibo. And really, my biggest concern is please let me be able to get Pac-Man.
I think you're going to be okay with Pac-Man. I think you will. If Sonic and Mega Man were any indication of how they were handling like third-party characters, I think you're going to be okay. I wonder, do you think Namco, Sega, and Capcom have any say with like the availability, like how many that they're producing for those figures? Because when Sonic and Mega Man came out, there was people going nuts, like thinking that they were never going to be able to find them. You can pretty much walk into any Toys R Us, any Best Buy, any Walmart now and find those two. So I'd like to think that those third-party like companies have some say in how many are printed or produced. So I'd like to think you're going to get Pac-Man with little to no issue. At least I'd think so. So I'm crossing my fingers for you.
Yeah, so am I. It's at the beginning it was kind of crazy with Sonic and Mega Man. Yeah, Pac-Man. I really hope that Wave 4, since we've really heard nothing about it so far, turns out well.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of the Wave 2 figures are, it's like 75 or 80% of the Wave 2 figures are considered rare.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make any sense to
No,
me.
it's weird. It's very weird. I'm still surprised that we don't have like a massive amount of Pit or a massive amount of Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon specifically, he's a veteran character. He's been there since game one. It blows my mind that we're seeing such a shortage on such a popular character. So I don't know. It's frustrating. There's two camps right now as far as Wave 4 pre-orders. The first camp says something's up. There's not going to be a pre-order. They're just going to release it the day they come out. Like you'll see like Amazon post them at midnight, or you'll just have to go to your store and pick them up like the day they come out. And then there's the other camp that says, you know, any second now, keep hitting F5. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming any moment. And I think I'm in the second camp at this point where I think pre-orders are coming. I can't imagine Nintendo. I don't think they could tell the retailers that, no, you can't do this. I do honestly think what you said is accurate as far as they're looking to see what the production is going to look like. They're going to see how many they can actually get in stock. There was so many canceled pre-orders from Amazon, from Best Buy, from GameStop. I can't imagine any of those retailers want to go through that again. So instead of just like opening the floodgates for pre-orders, it makes sense for them to just kind of hold off. We still have about a month anyway until they release. So if they unlocked pre-orders like 2 weeks before they came out, I'd be totally content with that. I think most people are just in a position right now where they don't know and it's frustrating. And I totally get that. Me running Amiibo News, I every single day get at least 5 to 10 messages saying, where are Wave 4 pre-orders? And every time I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I have nothing to do with any of it. So
they're asking you, they're like, where are the Wave 4 pre-orders? And you're like, oh yeah, that happened last week. I just forgot to tell you guys. Oops, sorry.
They're in my basement. I have the entire shipment down there.
Honestly, with the way some of the shipments were going, you could probably fit them all in your basement.
That's a sad thing to think about.
I'm sorry, Nintendo. I apologize. That joke was mean.
If it makes you feel better, I can't imagine Nintendo listens to this podcast. There's only I think there's only one other interesting piece of Nintendo news or Amiibo related news that we have this week, and that is that the standard Mario Amiibo from the Mario Party 10 series is coming out on April 3rd, which is good. The exclusivity agreement or the exclusivity thing with the Mario Party 10 bundle, that didn't last long, like at all. I'm pretty shocked how short that was. I'm kind of disappointed too, because I probably wouldn't have bought the bundle, thinking that like 2 weeks later I could go and buy the figure without the bundle. So it's probably super selfish of me to say this, but I kind of wish that they waited a bit longer before they did that. I figure if you want to entice people to buy something that's like exclusive in a bundle, that you should probably they should probably just let it be exclusive a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess in all honesty though, I ended up saving $3 by going that route anyway with the bundle. Like if they just released them separately, but I guess they probably made a bunch of people buy Mario Party 10 that normally wouldn't have. So
I actually ended up getting my bundle for about $40.
What?
So
how'd you do that?
Yeah. I have no clue. I know someone actually bought it for me, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I got this for $40." Wow. So I know. I was like, "What? How?"
I know, like Best Buy has like the Gamers Club where you get like 20% off like everything if you're a member of that. So maybe it was something like that, but that's a great deal. You can't turn that down.
Yeah, I know. So it's I mean, I actually didn't even know that Mario was exclusive to the bundle until a little earlier.
Yeah.
And then, I feel like the same thing is going to happen with the Mewtwo DLC and Smash that's coming out either next week or the week after, right?
They haven't announced it yet. So the last day to register for it is the 31st. So you have 4 days to register from now. They haven't announced specifically when it's coming out. I would imagine they're going to do it like in some sort of Nintendo Direct. Yeah. And at that point, maybe they're going to announce the Mewtwo Amiibo. That'd be outstanding.
That'd be amazing.
I'm craving that. Mewtwo is like my most wanted amiibo, and they haven't even confirmed that he's going to be an amiibo. So I'm hoping that's what it's gonna be.
I can't imagine that he wouldn't be an amiibo though, because they said that every Smash Bros. Character is going to get one.
Yeah,
right?
no, he'll be an amiibo. I have no doubt. I guess I do. I have a tiny bit of doubt. And it's just that tiny lingering little nugget of doubt in the back of my brain that they're not going to make him. I'm sure they'll make him. But
the only thing is, what if someone doesn't have Mewtwo? Like, what if they didn't download him?
Yeah. Oh, for
then
online?
If you didn't download Mewtwo and then you try to scan in the amiibo, what's going to happen?
That's a good question. I would imagine the amiibo is going to unlock him in the game if you did not buy both versions of the game.
That would actually that makes a lot of sense. I think instead of having you buy the amiibo and the DLC separately, just make that the way to get Mewtwo.
Now that's a way to sell amiibos. That is something. That is a way to get me to like shell an unlimited amount of money at you, Nintendo. If they ended up like coming out with any more DLC characters for Smash Bros, which in my opinion they need to do that. I mean, it's a cash cow. It would be absolutely insane if they didn't. And the way to do that would be even if they up the price a little bit to like $15, buy a $15 amiibo, scan it in, and he's yours. That's great. That is the best way to make me buy DLC. I don't buy DLC almost ever. And one of the main reasons is I like physical things. I like my shelf that's right next to me that has all my N64, my Wii U games. I like all my Nintendo stuff. I like the boxes. I just don't get that feeling with DLC. I don't get like that feeling like I own something. So if they do that with Amiibo, that would be outstanding. So here's hoping.
I think the last time I felt that good about buying DLC was Mario Kart.
That is the only DLC that I've ever shelled out money for, like without even thinking about it. Like I'm like, oh, Hyrule, Link, yeah, take it, money, it's yours. I don't even need to worry about it at this point. And then the Animal Crossing DLC is coming out pretty soon here too, so that should be pretty exciting.
And I think they spaced it out perfectly so that you keep going back to the game.
They do.
Like if they can do that with Smash Bros, then that'd be amazing. Well, I mean, I'm gonna keep going back to Smash Bros no matter what. But if they keep releasing characters, which I know Sakurai doesn't want to, but I think that could be pretty fun. Like every once in a while we get a new character.
And even Mario Kart, that'd be kind of interesting too, because we have the Animal Crossing DLC coming out soon where you can play as Isabelle or one of the male or female villager. It'd be kind of neat, like if you could buy a Tom Nook amiibo and scan it in and just unlock Tom Nook as a character. There's so many interesting possibilities that you have with DLC and amiibos that I really hope are fully realized at some point. So
yeah, there's the great thing about Amiibo is that they have different function in every single game that they're in.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I've never really been interested in, like Disney Infinity or Skylanders over, which I'm not trying to compare Amiibo to Disney Infinity or Skylanders.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
I'm sorry, audience. Other quote unquote Toys to Life series that shall be unnamed.
There you go.
They basically have the same function in every single game that they're in, but Nintendo has taken the Amiibo and made them a new experience for every single game that they're implemented in.
No, and honestly, the Amiibo support is practically unlimited as far as like DLC. So I completely agree with you there, and I hope Nintendo is going to realize it more. I'm sure they do. There's got to be a smart team of people at Nintendo that their only purpose in life is how can we make money from these plastic figures. Like they have to have like this Amiibo group of just people that sit in a boardroom like scratching down ideas about how they can like further like make a profit from these things. And that's fine with me as long as it's fun, as long as it's unique, and as long as it's exciting. And I agree, like when you look at Skylanders and you look at Disney Infinity, they more or less serve one purpose. The sandbox game is cool, But once you're done with that game, you're sick of it, you're bored of it, you have to wait for the next version of it to come out, or you have to buy all new figures. With Amiibo, it's different. You can bring it, to any of your favorite games. Codename Steam. You can bring it to Captain Toad. You can bring it to Smash Brothers, obviously. There's just a laundry list of things you can do, and honestly, it's just exciting.
That's one of the biggest things that got me about Amiibo. Well, that and the figures are amazing.
So, if you're a fan of the show or if you've watched us before, you know that we like to end every episode with something we like to call
Amiibo News Speed Round.
There we go. See, it's better to have the announcer here with us. He can just say it. We don't have to go through anything else. So we like to call it the Amiibo News Speed Round. What we do is we pose a question to Twitter, our Twitter followers, pretty much just asking, what do you want us to talk about? And that's what we do. So this week we have, let's see. Oh, man. We got like 20 questions. So we're going to go through a handful of these questions. We're going to give us about 10, 15 seconds to answer each one, and then we'll move on to the next. Sound good to you?
Let's do it.
All right. There's some pretty... So like last week, there's some questions that I'm not going to answer. They're not that fantastically appropriate. So, number 1, are you for or against retail exclusives?
I think it adds a lot to the collectability of them. I think they should offer another method of getting them, though. Totally
agree. I think that it brings just more like a thrill of the hunt kind of situation. So I support it to a certain level. Can Thomas the Tank Engine join Smash Brothers? No, I'll say no to that.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
Oh man, Pitu had a question. The Amiibo Hunter. He said, "When the F are Wave 4 pre-orders coming?" Saturday. I think we answered this last week, and we just said Saturday. So, do you have any other thoughts on when Wave 4 pre-orders are coming?
Sometime.
We'll leave it there.
Honestly, that's the answer Nintendo's given us. So
that's the politically correct answer, anyway.
Yep.
What store do you think handled their store exclusive Amiibo the best?
I want to say Target.
With Rosalina?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that it was Walmart with Gold Mario. So hear me out. There was like 4 or 5 pre-orders, like in all for Gold Mario online. When I went to the midnight launch, they had everybody lined up. It was 1 per person. It was super, super structured. So I got to tip my hat to Walmart.
Then again, the only reason I'm saying Rosalina is she's the only one I have. So
there you go. All right. Do you think Nintendo is going to be announcing a new series of Amiibo besides the rumored Splatoon Amiibos? I think we've touched that already this evening, and we both agree that, yes, there's going to be many, many waves of that.
I could see Star Fox being the next one after Splatoon.
That's actually a good guess. I'm thinking E3 is when we're going to see a lot more of this stuff. I'm going to be there. I'm going to report on it. If I remember, I think I'm going to be starstruck the entire time, so I'll do my best to report. What do you think about the name Amiibo? Do you like the name Amiibo? Why do you think they went with the name Amiibo?
I like Amiibo, and I think it rolls off the tongue very nicely.
It has the word
I think they went with it. Yeah, I think they went with it because they could have the MII me, and also it sounds like amigo, like friend.
I like it. And then we can call each other, Ami bros.
Yeah, the puns.
The puns are fun. The puns are fun. How do you think Splatoon Amiibo are going to interact with the game, if they exist at all? Special cosmetics, extra weapons?
I think they could do something similar to Smash Brothers with like an AI teammate that you help train up to be better as a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
But it could also offer more cosmetic things to the game.
Yeah, I'd like to think that it's going to have something where it's very similar to what the Smash Bros. Amiibo do. I'd like to think you could train one. if you only have like 1 or 2 people, or if you're playing like single player, it'd be cool to play like a character, like play against a character that's fully trained. Like you can maybe get it up to like level 50 like you can in Smash Bros. Like having like a very intelligent AI opponent that you can bring with you to your friend's house to like join the fun. So that's my thought. All right, what else we got here? Who do you think is going to be rare in Wave 4?
Hopefully not Pac-Man.
Hopefully not Pac-Man. I think it's going to be Lucina and Ness. I think it's got to be Ness because people are going to go nuts for Ness.
I could see Robin being rare.
I think that could. I think just the fact that he's in Fire Emblem would make him rare.
Yeah.
I'd like to think though that Nintendo is trying to do their hardest right now to get characters that are usable in Codename Steam to like be in stock. So Robin, Lucina, Marth, and Ike are all compatible with Codename Steam. So you'd think that they'd want to get those in the open.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still think it's going to be Ness, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the last question of the night is, what do you think the Mr. Game & Watch Amiibo is going to look like?
Well, the Mr. Game & Watch model for Smash Bros. Is actually rounded. It's a full 3D model that then they make to look flat.
Yeah.
So they could go either way. I have a feeling that they're going to do like a thicker, flat Amiibo. Like not like paper thin, but more. I don't know. It's a weird one.
So somebody like 3D printed a Mr. Game & Watch Amiibo. It was super flat. It was made out of like this really shiny black plastic. I think that's what they're going to do. It's going to be thin. It's probably going to be like a 1/4 inch thick. So that's my guess. So that's the speed round, and we've covered all the topics. So I want to end everything by just giving you another moment to just plug whatever you want to plug, your website, your Twitter page, where people can find you, and then we'll close it up for the night.
So if you want any voice work or anything, you can find me at Twitter. It's at Jared_Rutledge. Or you could email me. I have my email on my Twitter page, and yeah, thanks for listening.
And if you're watching this on the video cast, if you look in the description below, I'm going to have links to everything that Jared does. He does great work. I just want to say thank you again, just for, number one, joining us on the podcast today, and then more importantly, everything that you've done with the podcast since we've started. You as the announcer really helps us with the podcast. I think it's an outstanding addition to what we do. So thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart.
Well, it's so much fun to be able to do it. Like, it's just, it really is an honor to be able to come on and to be able to do the voice. So.
All right. So again, if you're curious to where we are on Twitter at Amiibo News. We have our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Amiibo News. Our website, myamiibonews.com. Thank you for watching. We're going to be back next week. We're going to actually have Zelda Universe back on next week to discuss more Zelda Amiibo. And pretty much anything else that happens in the world of Nintendo. So thank you for watching or listening, depending on how you're partaking in this particular podcast. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a good night, everybody.